You guys ready?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. Just didn't want to put in others. So I know this isn't a public safety and park related item, but Jason from Avonmarsh thought it'd be good just to give a brief update now and then to do a full kind of update at the commission meeting next Monday for everybody. But basically, as you know, I was here, when was that, in April, I think, for the Clean Water SRF State Revolving Fund public hearing. And that report and application was put into the state, and they're currently scoring it and reviewing it. But as part of that, the sanitary sewer system, because there were some overflows of sewage due to some lift station issues and a pipe main break. Eagle, the state, wants to enter into an administrative consent order to formally address that issue and to have the city work towards fixing all of the sewer lines eventually in the city. And so a couple things as part of that. We've been working with Mr. Mitchell and the city attorney to try to get the administrative consent order negotiated and make sure it's got reasonable deadlines and isn't too onerous for the city. And we've made some progress on that. The only caveat to that is because the state revolving fund is a scored application, you get 20 points for having an administrative consent order that's signed and executed by the end of July. So we're kind of running into a tight time frame, which is why we're kind of discussing it now. If the city doesn't have that final document signed by July, the end of July, the city's only going to score 60 points on the SRF program. It would be 80 points with the signed ACO. So it's really important, and we're really working hard to get that. The attorney's been reviewing it. Jason and I have made some edits, sent over some markups to the state for their review. So we're working toward that. So at Monday's meeting, because it's the last commission meeting before the end of July, we're going to ask the commission to consider allowing Mr. Mitchell to sign on behalf once the attorney feels it's in a good place by the end of July. So that's kind of one update I wanted to bring. The second update was the SRF program is only able to fund sewer replacement or rehabilitation for sewer pipes that have been documented to have structural issues. And some of the locations that we know from the asset management plan that should be replaced didn't have a televising, the camera was not sent through. So Eagle requested some additional information regarding which pipes have been televised, what their ratings were, and then some of the other items that hadn't been televised but are in areas where there have been sanitary sewer overflows, like down by the ravine. We submitted some additional information to try to get that for Eagle's eligibility requirements to make sure that could be funded. So we've been working on that, and I think the supplemental information is in your packet just for your reference to that. So bottom line is we're still working toward getting everything we can to get grant funding through the state revolving fund for the city, because we understand that without substantial grant funding, it's not really affordable. So we're still working hard on trying to get that done. And we got a couple quotes from 3 different televising firms to do some televising of some of those pipes that were included in the project plan that we'd really like to see included in the $20 million request for this fiscal year's SRF fund. So it's about like a $50,000 expense just to televise it. So those are kind of the three branches that we're working with the SRF program just to try to meet all of the state's requirements and try to get the city that $20 million request.
Okay. And that's the one that's based on the points, right? The one,
Yeah, it's the one that's tied to the points. So the state received a record number of applications because usually it's a loan only program, but because the state had ARPA money, as I mentioned before, there's actually grant money available this year. And they made that pretty widely publicized. So they received like 200 and some applications totaling about $2.4 billion of requests, and they only have $1 billion to give out. Only $1 billion. Usually in a normal year they only have 300 million, but this year they have $1 billion. And so it's really important that we get those 80 points instead of 60 so that the city can be funded. So that's kind of just an update. Like I said, we'll go into it in more detail on Monday.
Okay.
With the full commission, we just really wanted to, so it wasn't the first time you hear about it when you have to take action.
Would you have some visual, like some maps or something there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
We'll have that on Monday.
All right. Good.
And I think it was in the packet.
Okay.
That shows the map.
All right. Okay.
What agencies are identifying and documenting what sewer pipes need to be searched?
If I'm understanding your question, so who's saying which ones need to be done? It's a combination of the asset management plan that city engineer Abby March and DPW worked on that was funded through SAW. They went through and evaluated which pipes were the oldest, which ones were having issues. Some of them are ones that were involved in sanitary sewer overflows recently. Like last fall, there were a couple. There was the one by the ravine that broke. There's one on Pawpaw that just recently broke that needs to get fixed. Some of them were pieces like on pipestone. Some of the upstream ones had been done, and we're just going to continue that line because there wasn't enough money to do the whole length of it. So that's kind of how those were developed.
Commissioner Adams.
Thank you, Chairman Singleton. Hello. I heard you mention something about scoring, and I'd like to know what does that depend on again? And I also heard you mention something about, I remember when we got the soft funding, that there was some scope work through the pipe, and however you do that to determine what was worse than any others in the city. And I'm sure that wasn't enough to do the complete city, but for as long as Abby March has been here, you don't have records of past prior to that soft funding of things that needed to be done and replaced that would help with that scoring. And not only that, one last thing that's on my mind is you said that you're going to come before us to give a presentation. And is this the meeting that I heard you mention something about the end of July? And that's just a couple of weeks away. And we're expected to vote on this? Oh, okay.
Yeah, at Monday's meeting.
Okay.
So to answer your question about the scoring, the state SRF program through Eagle has a very prescriptive scoring methodology. And it goes through things like, do you have an administrative consent order or another enforcement? Yes or no. You get 20 points for having one. So with that ACO that's drafted, but it's not yet executed.
And that's what? Explain.
Administrative consent order.
Which is?
It's an order that basically describes how there were sanitary sewer overflows last fall.
Okay.
And then.
And earlier this year as well.
And earlier this year, and indicates that the state has sent out violation notices to the city and would like the city to make steps to resolve all of those. So it's a pretty lengthy document. The attorney's reviewing it. Unfortunately, the state didn't give a draft out until the very last week of June, and it has to be signed by the end of July.
Okay, so if we had not have sent in a letter of intent, we probably wouldn't even be in on this pot of money that
Correct.
so many, okay, I figured as much.
Yeah.
Okay,
So that's kind of the time crunch, because this is the year that there's grant money. Next year, there's not nearly as much grant money.
okay, but this is something that happens every year.
Yes, but
And
it
we
is
need to
usually
be-
a loan.
Okay, it's usually a loan, but I've been on a lot of calls with, Eagle, EPA, and some other organizations across the country. Because everybody is after this, some of this funding.
Yep.
Which is why I'm glad that our now president put forth so much money, because they understand that America, not just Benton Harbor, is suffering with an aging old infrastructure. Man. This is just hard, and I'm trying to ask all the questions now because Monday night, I'm sure we won't get an opportunity to.
Well, there's always availability to ask questions.
Yeah, but we have had a lot of discussions on some of this funding being grants, some being loans, some being able to be refinanced. And we don't have those answers, or will we have them Monday?
No, so
Okay.
the administrative consent order is the enforcement order that would allow.
It's
you
like
to
the
get
next step to the
funds.
letter of
It's the
intent.
next- Well, it's the next step in enforcement, so it would
Enforcement,
qualify you for the additional points. The state has an initial scoring list out, and Benton Harbor currently, they've assumed the ACO will be finalized by the end of July. So you get 80 points out of 100. So you're near the top of the list. But if the ACO can't be negotiated and signed by Mr. Mitchell by the end of July, then you'll only get 60 points.
So this is what we need.
So
Get
that's what we
permission
need
for-
to do
okay,
on
okay.
Monday night, to allow Mr. Mitchell to continue working with the attorney and to ultimately allow him to sign it by the end of July. Now, the state revolving fund issues their preliminary, they call it preliminary priority project listing, and it will list every project that they got an application for, the total the total project cost, how much is gonna be loaned, how much is gonna be grant, and their score. And then that goes on public notice for 30 days. And then they finalize it before October 1st. So you will know in about a month, month and a half, is it gonna be 50% grant? Is it gonna be 90% grant? Is it gonna be 100% grant? And then at that time, you can decide, okay, well, it's not enough grants, so we have to look for another grant source.
So right now, they just need to know we have our ducks in a row and we're ready to do business.
Yep.
Okay, so one last question, and that is, with all the overflows that we've had in the past 3 years, I know for sure that, if scoring has anything to do with that, does Admin Marsh have a list of projects from over the years that have not been attended to as of yet? That we still seek funding for?
Yes, they have the overall capital improvement plan that was put together with the soft funding. You mentioned the
Well, no,
televising.
that was actually before, that actually came into play with emergency management. The capital, but that was the purpose. capital.
Yeah.
Okay.
So about 10% of all the sewers were televised. And then the other ones that we weren't able to televise at that time, we were relying on, they were relying on the material of pipes. A clay pipe is more brittle, and they stopped using it because of that. And they started using PVC, which is, stronger. Age of material, kind of history of whether it's been a problem area or not. So there is a list, in priority, it needs to be updated. It's a little bit out of date, because that was done, I think, in 2016. But that's, things that have been done. And, the city did do an SRF project a couple of years ago, and they did replace a portion of Pipestone and Vineyard and a few others. So this is just kind of continuing down that list.
leading up to this, the gentleman from EPA, he had assured us that he would be in Benton Harbor business. So we still have to have that happen before the final vote or our final approval. I mean, I've been batting hard for my city, and I have no doubt that we're gonna get a large amount of money.
So I'm
Me and
not
some
sure
other
about
folks.
that.
I am.
This ACO is a state thing, so I'm not sure what
Okay.
EPA's involvement would be. I know EPA was very involved in helping get some federal funding on the water side, so perhaps they can also do that on
This
the
as well.
sewer side.
We've had some meetings about it.
Okay.
But
I
thank
haven't
you.
been in that,
Appreciate
so, sure.
Anybody else got any questions? Commissioner Young? Thank you.
Okay.
Gonna go back to the item number 2, the public safety report. Director McGinnis.
I think number 4 was.
Oh, no,
handled
okay,
and
no,
report.
okay.
So I think that's the resolution she was talking
All
about.
right,
for
let's take
Monday.
that one then. Number 4.
Is that what you were talking about for Monday?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we
So
move
we
that on.
move that,
Yeah,
okay.
consent to move on. Consent to move on, co-chair.
Number 4?
All right, now we can go back then. Now we go back to item number 2, Director McGinnis.
Good afternoon.
Please. Okay.
We, folks, they actually before, have that service.
Okay.
Everything is about time, as far as that each.
We can't hear you.
Microphone, I don't know what to say.
What is up with that?
Yeah, you look.
Throat hurts, I know.
Okay.
So I got the microphone.
Yeah.
So we, it's not here. So what we want to bring before you for your approval, Mr. Singleton, Committee Supervisor Mitchell, is some things at the top of the office, that code compliance. We'd like to revisit our permit fees, kind of bring them in line with kind of the state of Michigan. Our bill inspector has been working on that. He has lots of information, and I think that's probably more appropriate for finance
Mhm.
committee. So we'd like to take that for discussion, hopefully also we take it to the full commission to set, update those fees and set those. We have a lot of applications, a lot of permits coming in, requests for permits, so we want to make sure we're aligned. Kind of, I think what we want to do is accumulate the state of Michigan fees,
Mhm.
which are a little higher than the industry standard, for, especially with the volume of work that we have. Also, Director Clark, who's out training, wants to also discuss our ordinance for parking ticket fees, particularly at G-Clock Park. Our fees are at a point where they are decades old. I think they go 5, 10, 15.
Mhm.
If you were to get a ticket in the same jail, it's like $45. So we would like to have that information to also be discussed at the Finance Personnel Committee. And lastly, Mr. Mitchell and I were talking about RFP for dumping. We had it before, and there was quite a bit of confusion on how it works. And we did have some internal mechanisms that were indeed broke. That really, those charges are really being passed through, it's not city property. But we want to see if that's the direction we want to go in, and yes, there's also a financial consideration, we'll probably go for that committee. We get every day call Brooke Corona, Mo and myself, calls, emails about dumping over here, dumping over there. And we know it's summertime, public works is obviously trash, cutting, filling patches, cutting back alleys. I would like to see us go back in that direction, get something else, to get at least a couple of companies on board to be able to go dispatch them, pick up stuff, get it out of the city so we can start kind of cleaning our city up. Again, we will have now in place of processes to do it properly and efficiently. So those are things, again, out of respect for you, go straight to committees. Would you be willing to let us go to personal finance to discuss?
Yeah, no problem with the discussion there, but isn't the fees covered under city ordinance too, right? Don't that have something to do
I'm not sure.
with, okay, because it also may need to go through legislative committee to deal with, because,
Yeah, you're right. So something like that, that would be really kind of, it's got a foot in both kind of puddles.
Yeah.
Will we send it like to both of them, or could we say, all right, we go to personal finance or legislative, the information discussed that we just agree to have it go to full commission, or we would bounce it from public safety to legislative, finance, or some vice versa?
yeah,
We'll totally do what you want to do.
yeah, I believe if it's covered under the ordinance that the legislative committee would be, because they would have to do about any, if we have to amend any ordinances or anything like that to raise the fees or, so I definitely think that's a legislative issue. I'm sure that the finance committee would have no problem discussing it once they determine what the fees, going to be, and then I think the commission would,
It does make sense.
yeah.
That's a little time.
Mhm.
So you could we'll go with that?
Yeah.
Contract.
Mhm.
Sorry about that.
Okay. That does,
That's all we have.
okay. Nothing for Mr. Bruce.
Good evening, commissioners and citizens. Out of the code compliance department here in the last month, my office has been discussing some things with a new business that's coming into town. They're looking to purchase a property here and also start a countertop business. They're out of Illinois. Electrical permits from our office was 123 electrical permits for $23,971, 18 building permits, $9,662.20. We have 3 vendors that came into town as well and did something for Pride Fest. Demolition, there was a demolition that took place at 383 Britain. The house is gone and the hole has been filled and resoiled. Enforcement, we had 95 violations for grass cutting. 27 of those lots were abated. The other 68 were privately owned and residential properties that were correct. Business licenses and registrations for the month of June, a lot of billings went out previous months for the businesses for June came in at $3,692, and business registration fees are still coming in. Rental registration fees for the month was $33,981, and all those are rental registration fees. No certificate of occupancies were issued for the month of June. And that's the mark report.
For the fire. Kenny.
Commissioner, can we, maybe take a step backwards, we can maybe explain to me,
Exactly what we're talking about as far as permit fees.
again, just, that's what, so if you want to give them one.
Okay.
This is a little bit.
Well, so we're trying to just bring the fees up to more of a current
Mhm.
competitive rate for our municipality with other surrounding areas.
Mhm.
So that's what it is, just trying to recoup some of the costs spent on inspections.
Okay. Yeah. Mr. Little, you have something to say?
We're going to need to do the same for development fees associated with larger projects and so forth too. Basically, our current documents relate to a site plan. We talk about a $400 application fee, a $1,200 escrow. When you're talking about, 15, 17, $20 million projects and so forth, that doesn't begin to cover the cost of the kind of reviews that really ought to be taking place. So we need to take a look at those two and adjust them likewise.
Okay. Well, let's get us something ready and then bring them and we'll get them going. Fire Marshal, did you have anything?
I'll just, if you saw it on the news this week, you've seen that we've been very, very busy. We continue to be busy even since after the article. Unfortunately, there's nothing really that's connected. The ones that we do have suspects on, we've been able to follow up. We're working on charges, and the others, unfortunately, we have absolutely no leads. So until somebody speaks up and says something, we're kind of at a loss, unfortunately.
Okay.
But the auto aid with St. Joe in Benton Township was really, I think, and that's what I tried telling the news, that's the story. We're sending triple the amount of resources now than we ever have. We're meeting NFPA requirements. We're faster, we're stronger, we're better than we've ever been, and we're putting a lot of people there very, very quickly and solving problems very quickly. Yeah, and the other thing, we also had our ISO visit last week. ISO is what controls fire insurance rates for the town. Mainly commercial properties benefit more from it than residential properties. However, if we drop low enough, residential properties will benefit. So we're currently at 5. Going into St. Joe's rating, they were a 5 as well. They came out at 2 today. We won't know for 6 to 9 months probably what will be, but St. Joe can be a 2. This fire department can be a 2. I can guarantee you that. So, and if we're not, there's I got some questions to ask.
I do too.
Yeah, so we had a very, very good visit with ISO, and they looked at us very strongly all across the board. So I just don't like having to wait 6 to 9 months to get results.
Why so long,
That's the system at work.
Okay.
St. Joe had theirs last summer. They just got it yesterday, or, this week. So
Almost a year.
yeah, theirs was almost a year. They told us we probably 6 to 9 months.
All right. Sound good. Co-chair, you got any questions for any of the?
No.
All right, Commissioner Adams.
I didn't get the young man's name here, but is he part of code enforcement?
We gonna bring him?
I don't think so, no.
Loyal Bennett.
Loyal, Commissioner Adams, pleased to meet you. So we do have, because I put something out on Facebook and I just wanted to know. I ask the residents a question sometimes because that's my way of keeping in touch with the community. And they ask me about where's code enforcement. So I get to tell them good news that I've met one that, and that's good that we're talking about things that will help and improve. I don't think I like what I heard from code enforcement as far as the residents are concerned, but we have fines and fees as far as parking and all of that. It needs to be dealt with. But I like what I heard from Plan Economic Development Director, Mr. Little, because we have not been merciful with the applications with medical marijuana coming into the community with the amount that we charge them for applications. I think other corporations that come in, $1 million developments, need to pay a higher fee for applications as well. I want to thank our fire marshal for how good him and his young men and women, I don't know what we had, but I don't leave them out, about how clean they keep the fleet. And it's good that the community can ride and see that. Now, I'm going to address something that I asked the community on social media because I want to know myself. And when we spend money on things like a wood chipper, a street sweeper, and there's been some other things as well. Why, when they arrive, that when we have a meeting, that they're not parked outside for us to view? Because some of us never see them before they are out of commission just a couple of months after usage or after being received, and it needs a part. Something is wrong with that picture. Something is really wrong with that picture. Why we never see the things that the residents, tax-paying dollars, purchase. The street sweeper, my street is brand new. It's never been down my street. I complain about it at least going across to one of the Marie Floyd's, the bridge. When the kids are on the school bus headed back and forth to school, at least keep it clean. To no avail. But I'm sure you all ride throughout the city too. Do you ever see it, Chairman Singleton?
I have seen it, not often as I would like to, but I have seen
Can we
it.
find out why?
I do, some of it I know is personnel, but we're dealing with that too.
Commissioner Adams, I also want to mention as far as Ben, born and raised Ben Harbor High School graduate. Yeah.
Oh, what, wait, all right, then I'm ready. And I won't go without saying this as well. We do get to see our fleet of police cars too. So, yeah. So we should be privy to seeing everything else that the residents purchase as well.
Mr. Manager, you help us out with that. I'm sure you can come up with something, let us know. Mr. Duncan, you got a question?
Yeah, Mr. Duncan wants that drain on Broadway quieted down. And I know it's been, I don't even remember how long it's been that I've asked about getting it to be quieted. And it's frustrating to ask, and it sounds like I'm complaining, but today I am complaining. I need that drain quieted down. Put some rubber bands or something up under it to keep it from just clattering all night. I've been pretty nice about it, but now I feel like I'm being just dismissed. It's been a long time. So when I start feeling like I'm dismissed, then that's when I really start complaining. But today I'm not.
Okay.
Just asking that you guys take care of that for me.
What's the address on that?
It's in the 1100 block Broadway. It sits right out just to the side of 1160 Broadway. It's not a very good drain because all the water lands right in front of the park, right in front of the house. There's no drainage other than in the middle of the street. So it was, I work construction. I know it's shabby work when I see it. So I'm just asking you guys if you just do something about it. I pay taxes. And everybody else get what they ask for. Not everybody, but I like to see that taken care of. If I could just say that and I'm finished. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Mr. Manager. You have that, don't you? Okay. Anybody else? All right, item, good. Go ahead.
Is that duly noted?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah,
Good.
just ask a question. I just wanted to finish the report. One of my questions is, do we have any type of report from what HUD is doing for Harper Towers?
I can
It's a public safety issue.
jump in on that a little bit. HUD is doing nothing for Harbor Towers currently. HUD determined that it would be a 2-year process. So at least there's nothing they've given us in writing, I should say. They may be doing something on the back end, but it would be a minimum of a 2-year process for HUD to do anything for Harbor Towers at this point. Harbor Towers met the requirements in HUD's mind to continue to be open in the meantime. So,
Thank you, officer. I would just like to say, it would be a shame for us to sit here and just let that group be treated like that. I don't care who they is. It could be HUD, FBI, I don't care. If we are the local government of this land, we shouldn't let anybody else come in here and fix around a group of people because they don't have no desire to, pay them any attention? And what I said last week, I don't know if anybody looked into it, or the last Monday night meeting. I don't know if anybody looked into it. Has anybody looked into it? So I'm not lying. I was told I should be careful what you say, allegations. These ain't allegations I'm talking about. I don't do allegations. I was evicted because I told that the pipes were busting and they didn't respond for 4 days or 2, 3, whatever, because they was enjoying Christmas. And when they did respond, they asked, do you want to stay in a hotel? The residents, we done marked the whole building by the time they respond. And then I kept responding because they picked one guy and his son to paint the whole building. One guy and his son to paint the inside of the building. If you go inside that building, it looks like we live in a box of Skittles.
Ain't
You
funny.
seen it? It looks like a box of Skittles. So now after that, and I kept reporting it, there's a list. I got it on my phone. I'm at the top of the list. The only one since Christmas that has a lease that has been evicted and barred. How you bar the government from the government? If I'm that bad, I shouldn't be sitting in this seat. All we got to do is raise these shades up and see I'm not the worst one sitting in the city. And unless we face who we face, and here's the bad part, we put them people in power. Housing Commission. And this happened Christmas 2022. And now this is the word we get. According to them, we can live there. Ain't nothing wrong with the building. I can take you right over there right now to the second floor. You can see black water running down the wall and it smells like sewer. Right next to an apartment door. But yet HUD say, oh, you can live there, it's no problem. You got elevators that work when they want them. One time, the elevator didn't work for a complete week. None of them. 2. And we had people on the 8th floor who could not even walk to the end of the hallway. Less lower, walking down the step. We still got some over there that are on wheelchairs who cannot, if that elevator goes out, they cannot get out of that building. When the EMS come and the elevator ain't working, I don't know how they get up there. If they have to go to 6th floor, I don't know how they're gonna get up there. But yet we'll let somebody tell us that they're good. They're good. This ain't even about me because I can easily move up and go. I got 7 kids. It's some people over there can't. They don't have a choice. They don't have a choice. 4th of July, some of them didn't have a choice. Some of them hang out in the front because they can't hang out inside. How you put a bench in a place and tell the people they can't sit there? How you let water just be out for 3-4 days? But yet, according to this agency, it's like living at downtown. I guess, I don't know if they consider across the street downtown, but according to that agency. So if we sit here And let that continue to happen.
We,
Yes, we, right here. There's 9 of us. There's 9 of us. Continue to let them people get treated like that. Shame on me.
So, from the code enforcement and I guess the fire chief, who, if HUD saying, I mean, who has the authority to say, hey, look,
They made it pretty clear to us, since it's a HUD building, they have the ultimate authority.
Mhm.
I mean, we probably could push the issue, but honestly, on the fire code end of things, they've done everything we've asked. There's not been anything on the fire code that Harbor Towers has not done. Now, is it the cleanest place on earth? Absolutely not.
what about, that's my
And,
next question was, if fire, okay, but the sanitation, that's what sanitation, do they meet?
I mean, the other part, and Maurice, correct me if I'm wrong, we don't have any official complaints that have come in since we've been there, the last time we've been there. So for us to follow up on, there's been no official complaints filed on our end.
And they won't. They came over here last time. I don't forget what month that was when that lady came. They haven't seen anybody over there outside of who they regularly see anyway, which is the maintenance people. So in their mind, why I'm gonna go back over there and they ain't did nothing.
have you called the health department?
And then they say nobody's coming over there to see. What some are saying is, why they don't come talk to us? Why they have to talk to Howard? Why they don't come and talk to us, people that live in? So that's the response they get.
That's a good question. Can the health department get in?
Yes.
And just to answer Commissioner Adams' question, we were told no. But when we contacted them initially, after the Christmas incidents, they told us they had no authority in that building.
There
Oh,
is
man,
no
no
no way on God's green
Don't say
earth
that.
that a health department anywhere in America would allow people to be over there living in a condition like that, and it's recorded that raw sewage is running down the wall, or even the smell of it, or the presence of it. My question is, that's why we have a planned economic development department and a city manager. See, we just make decisions. We give directives. That's why you sit in that chair, you and the chairman there. You give a directive to put forth a resolution to make something happen. You don't understand your power?
I understand.
Oh, okay, well, you've been over there. Don't point the finger at everybody else. When you have the power, then
Excuse me, Commissioner.
we will.
Okay.
Point of order.
we will-
Point of order.
we
Point
will
of
stand
order.
with you.
Order,
We
Commissioner.
will stand
Point of
with you.
order,
No,
Commissioner.
point of order. We will stand with you when you bring forth what needs to be, we all need to come together on.
Well, this
Have you put forth anything?
what
Yes.
this what I should,
It's about the 3rd or 4th time.
this
Not
what,
just words, though.
let me interrupt here. This what I suggest, because it's definitely, it's definitely some issues there.
Definitely.
And it's some, I don't know, but,
Chairman, my
Can-
question is,
can I-
has the lead lines been fixed?
so let me finish what I was saying today, okay? It's definitely some issues. We all know that. And it seemed like, one agency, the health department passing the buck, the HUD passing the buck. But as a city, we stuck with the issue is, and it's our citizens.
Right.
Therefore, I would suggest that we get some type of accurate, comprehensive report of the conditions, of the place. If there's a health and safety hazard, then we as a body need to take it further. If they saying HUD saying, hey,
So
we need to hear it from.
I have one solution that I may be able to address in the morning on a call. And I'm sure those calls are coming to an end with the state, EPA, and everybody else. I watched that building being built. Now, was it
67.
67? Have those lead lines been replaced in there throughout that building?
I don't know.
I gotta wait till the morning for an answer?
That is
Probably so.
hard
If we're
to
100%
determine
yes.
But
because
we
If we're
should know.
100% yes.
I do remember them digging.
Is it we're at 100%, so the lead line coming to the building, if it was one, it's probably replaced, but in the building, probably not.
I'll find out I'll ask some questions.
All right, let us know. Commissioner,
Thank you, Chair. I would say that I commend you, Commissioner Edwards. I know you're a new commissioner, and if you cry this out every once in a while and on deaf ears and we don't do anything, and we have the people sitting there. Now, I went to the farmer's market and they said, well, I want to buy something, but I live on the 7th floor and the elevator's out. Wow. It was out last week and it's out today again. These people are hurting. They're our people. And how dare anyone, HUD, Barron County, or our inspection department say that we have no responsibility. We have some responsibility and we should use that responsibility. If it was my house, personal house, inspection can come and do it. Here's a whole building with 80 families or more that are suffering. And we can't do anything. If HUD told me that, they would have to give me that in writing. They would have to tell me why they were neglecting my people. Yeah. They couldn't just tell me, well, no, we'll see about it in 2 years. No.
personally.
An inspection, you saying you can't go over there?
Commissioner.
No, he
You
said,
didn't hear that out of my mouth.
he said that you couldn't go over
He
there.
didn't say me.
He
He
said your
didn't say me.
department.
That's not what he said.
All right, man, maybe I missed it.
Yeah, you missed, yes.
Okay, so you
I
can go,
never say that I couldn't do something.
you can go over there.
Yes, I can, and I've been there.
We have numerous reports. I mean, every time we go, we do a report, but if they've corrected me.
Well, let me understand.
Before we go more off track.
Yeah.
We had, the reason he said what he said is that when we first contacted them, they started off like gangbusters. Oh my goodness. HUD.
Oh, HUD.
Yeah. They started off like gangbusters. They said that they were gonna come in, actually they came in, did some inspections themselves, met with us, talked to Sheila Hill. And we're thinking, okay, yeah, we're about to finally get something happening.
Mm-hmm. That's what the mayor said.
They came in and did an absolute about face.
Wow.
Absolute about face. They backtracked on what they had said previously. Then they talked about this long time it's going to take. They talked about how they supported Ms. Hill and her efforts, which has been stonewalling us. But they started to, then it ended up with a pat on the back for Mrs. Hill. So what he's saying is the people we went to who came out the gate like gangbusters came across the line like kittens. And I'm just putting it plainly.
Yep.
So when he says there's nothing that can be done, we went to the people that have the power to do it, and they totally poo-pooed it.
Do they have to get occupancy permits like other?
The building does. Yes.
And
And we even talked about shutting the whole building down at one point.
Well,
That was a good conversation with me and the fire marshal.
So if we condemn it, there's so many pieces of that building. They have,
Yeah.
there's their board or commission or whatever it's called. Yeah, they're appointed here. So it's kind of a sticky kind of process. And then I don't even know really what we could do if HUD themselves are like taking a hands-off approach. Because we still talk about this. Can we condemn it? If we so, how? Will they injunct the order against us? We got to injunct the order against them. It's just a mess. You think that the government, this is another social justice conversation.
Yeah.
Why does it get treated like this?
Yeah.
I guarantee if that was over there a mile away, it'd be different. That's the discussion. I think that's what you're saying.
Well, 601 Port is being gutted right now. So
And all the-
use that as an example.
Exactly.
and all the
They
people.
vacated 601 Port, they moved
Exactly.
every
And they're in
single
hotels.
person out, they're in hotels, and it's being redone.
Ain't that true?
Speaking of that, they said they were gonna put people up, and then they're like, oh, no,
Exactly.
we don't do that.
So now
This
it's
is how
time
we
to
get
raise
from
some
this
cane.
conversation.
Okay.
Well, can we, and I know it's probably a bold move, but sometimes you have to do it. Is it, it sounds to me it's condemnable. You know, I mean, it's
It's on the line. It depends the day of the week and what problem is going on. I've been there, and there's times, Commissioner, I would say it's absolutely condemnable. I've been back a week later, and
Until
they fixed everything.
they re-renovate,
And then-
just like they doing over there.
What they're doing is they're just putting a Band-Aid on.
Mhm.
They fix it, it's a Band-Aid, then another pipe breaks. and then
Okay.
It's condemnable.
So occupancy, each unit has its own occupancy. You know, this unit is,
It's a building as a whole.
Huh?
It's as a whole.
Right, as a whole,
The
you
whole
you can't, the whole thing would be condemned, not just one.
Yeah.
no, but I'm saying if one apartment is messed up so bad, not even the roaches can live in it.
We had that.
Can that particular apartment be,
State,
Unsafe to occupy.
Yeah.
unsafe to occupy? Yeah, that's what.
We did do that.
Okay.
Which they did. There was one apartment, border apartment, the minute you opened the door, things flew out at you, you couldn't identify it. It was horrendous. It's the worst I've ever seen. They fixed that. There are still apartments that burned in 2020, September of 2020, that have not been fixed. They just have plywood over the door. But in HUD's eyes, hey, they're just worried about the building as a whole. They're the owner of that building. HUD owns that building.
Oh, okay.
The city does not own they're the ones that hold the title. That's the other.
They made that very clear.
Yeah, and that's what they told us on the conference call is
Okay.
we own that building. You know, the city of Benton Harbor Housing Commission runs the building for them. So,
I'd like to hear a little bit, Mr. Little, you deal with HUD a lot. What is it, what do you,
Well, I was asked to try and assist in getting set up to pursue a special program called RAD. At the time that we started, the discussion was around trying to put out an RFP to have developers respond if they were willing to work with the Housing Commission to set up a RAD program, so a rental demonstration program where the developers take a minority ownership part in it, do the financing and everything to get the program going. One developer indicated a strong interest in it. Ms. Hill had expressed her feelings about that particular developer. But in any event, when the board met and talked about the next thing we were aware of, Ms. Hill had put out an RFP for a consultant as opposed to a developer to do RAD.
That's what this
So
year and a half.
now they've got and the RFP they put out was for 2 to 5 years. And they now have a consultant that they've decided is the way they want to go with it. And basically, I don't know what kind of timelines or whatever, because after I was met, gave my contribution, there wasn't much interest in it.
Mhm.
I've gotten away from it.
yeah, I know, I attended one of the meetings and they kind of shoved you out of the way and kind of glossed over what the fire chief had to say too. This is a question, and I don't know, I wish the attorney was here. Do we have the authority to call a special meeting for the Housing Commission and the executive director to come before this body or the commission body and for inquiry to, we gotta get this straightened out one way
Because
or the
it's
other.
just a couple months
Yeah,
away.
we've had several special meetings. Actually, I think you attended one.
Right, no, I'm talking about them coming before this whole body or this committee to, you know, explain to us
We good.
what's going on, you know, and what are they doing, you know? I don't know, you, Mr. Little and Mr. Mitchell, I know you guys been around. Is that a possible that, because we need to get them in here and, you know, because right now what we getting
Is you
is
second in that?
what they saying here at this meeting, and then they saying it at another meeting. We need to get them in here and face everybody. We face each other and try to get to some type of resolution of this.
So this is the time
this
for
going on.
action, and you ain't gonna say nothing, Commissioner.
So can we work on getting that done? Okay. And if we need,
Giving us
Yes,
consensus.
and if it's if it's the full body, that's fine. If it's the committee, then I'll call a special public safety committee meeting to get that done. But you know, preferably the full body, you know, that they can come, because this has been going on for a long time. I've seen it. I've been over there, and it's you know, and it seemed to me it is getting thrown around, and that's, you know, year after year the folks are still living in those
We'll look
conditions.
into what your ability is on that.
Okay, all right.
Because I would prefer full commission, because even in those meetings,
Get consensus.
I was looking for my email, even in those meetings that they were having, I was told by one of the housing commission board members, he sent me an email stating it was, I guess it was, together, asking Ms. Hill to include me in those meetings. I never got a date, email from her, any kind of contact when they was having a meeting.
It could be a public hearing, didn't it?
So I would prefer for all of us.
The whole body. Okay, can you guys work on that for
We'll
us?
look into it.
Okay, thank you.
When I look at the position that the commission is in, and the commission approves the body, the board, and the board approves staff, and staff does all the shenanigans. I've been watching this go on. They protect each other. They know exactly how to write the report. They write the report. Sometimes they forget to change the dates on them. And the dates, you can see that they wrote the same report over and over and over. This has been going on for years. And it starts with the board members, period. When we appoint those people, they should be trained. They should know what their job is, and they should know that compassion. These are the lowest income people that we have in the city besides the homeless. And they should know that they have to have compassion and show something for our vulnerable people. So it starts with this body appointing the right people to the board. And yes, we do have autonomous authority to tell that board what to do. And I say HUD needs a letter. They need to, just like when we went after the state and they come in here and took over our city, we went after them. I think that HUD is one of the biggest problems that we've ever had, and they are getting to the point where they're shameful. So let's keep them shamed by going after them and telling them what they're doing to our vulnerable people. Red line and all of that stuff. I got a person that wants their house done. They can't get the house done because of HUD regulation. All of these things need to be addressed now. It's all about us right now. So if we don't take the lead to take care of our people, not just shame on you, shame on all of us.
Thank you.
Back on what you just said, it's not just our towers, that's the worst. look at the scatter sites.
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah, no, definitely, even in the scattered homes as well.
I want to speak on the scattered sites here real quick. There's several around town that you've called HUD on that were open, wide open, filled with trash, had raccoons the size of small dogs,
Ooh,
and they did not even know they were vacant.
ooh,
They,
somebody laughing.
they do paperwork real good.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I've been seeing that too, and I'm like, somebody need to be in those homes, and new taxpayers, even if they're low-income people that need a place to stay, that's becoming responsible or trying to.
Well, I think the first thing what we just discussed, having action for a public hearing to bring that board and the executive director before full commission.
Chairman.
Yeah.
Would you please reiterate to all of the arms of the city? Because I did this once before as co-chair of Planning Economic Development. They were supposed to come before us, before the body, and give an update
Monthly.
quarterly.
Okay.
Haven't seen them.
Mr. Duncan had his hand up.
I remember when we've had people come in here and call our people undesirable. Stood right here and called, asked you guys if you wanted undesirables to be in your city. And I remember the response too. All of you guys sat up there and grinned and laughed, and it was a funny thing. Got jokes and everything. That's a serious issue, but the only way you affect people with a lot of money is to get them in their pocketbook. My thought is, for somebody to live in a place like that, shouldn't have to pay a dime until they do something about it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
No.
You want compassion, you want to talk about compassion, that's compassion. If you want to sit up and make it okay and laugh at the jokes calling us undesirables, nobody said anything. I did. I said, y'all is undesirables. And I meant that because of the way they brought that to us. I'll say us, because it was all of us. It affected, may not have affected anybody as much as it did me, but it did have an effect. Brother, you're staying over there. And all of the things that they've actually done to you and about you, and nothing for you. I'm turning my eyes on everybody up here because things like that can happen. And it's a joke. As long as we tap dance and the shoe shuffling, we don't have no problem. But don't not shoe shuffle and tap dance. You have to continue shoe shuffling and tap dance. You can't stop. There's more people involved in this than you. And I would like to see some compassion by not charging our people another dime over there. That ought to get their attention. That ought to get them into a meeting without having to go through a bunch of paperwork, red tape, and all of that to get them here. You want to talk about closing it down and all of that. That's not the answer for Ben Harbor. Not for our citizens. Give them another high rise with their brand on it, their brand on our ass. So you guys, y'all the one was in control. You was in control, you was in control, all of y'all was in control, or make me think you are. Now's the time to do something about it. Stop charging our people for unsafe and unsanitary living conditions. When you get it like that, there should be no rent, no nothing. until they come in and solve the equation.
But what did they put that money in, some type of escrow or something, cause it sure don't need to be in the body.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, well, those are some of the things we gonna get.
Duly noted,
We got you, yep, and make sure you come to that public
I'm
hearing.
gonna come
once-
to every meeting
Okay,
about my people,
all right,
and I'm gonna fight, and I'm hoping that I can get some fight out of y'all.
okay. All right. Next item on the agenda, number 5, acceptance of the MDOT carbon reduction surface transportation. And
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Tim Drews. So over the last 5+ years, we've been working on traffic signals along the Pipestone corridor. Wall Street, Jefferson and Broadway, Britain, Empire, and basically modernizing those signals so that we can, at some point, get to a point where we can coordinate those signals to get traffic to not have to stop at every signal as you're driving down the corridor. This project is the last piece of the puzzle. It's basically Pipestone and Market, update the signals to LEDs for better efficiency and cost, upgrade the pedestrian signals, update the cameras, update the controller and cabinet. And basically, as a second part of that is there are a couple more things to be done in the cabinets at the other intersections so that these signals can all talk together. So we got federal funds and all of these projects that have been federally funded. This current project is funded through carbon reduction money, which is a new program. And it's $155,000 that was allocated through Twin Cats. So the project was designed, it was bid in early June, and the bids came in at $193,647. So that was right at our engineer's estimate of what we thought it would be. So the next step is to pass a resolution to sign the contract with MDOT. This happens on every federal project. You need to have a contract between the city and MDOT. We basically pass a resolution to allow the city manager and the mayor to sign the contract, and then it can be awarded. The work will likely, we need to have a pre-construction meeting once this all happens, but the work will likely happen this fall and go into, the end of the construction season. And then the next steps are to do traffic counts at these intersections so that we can plug those numbers into our software and basically get this timing to where it needs to be on these signals so that you aren't stopping at every red light. So that's the ultimate goal. The ask here is to authorize the city manager and the mayor to sign the contract with them.
No question, thank you. I was wondering about that. I seen them out there, I didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Commissioner
Thank
Alex.
you. I think this is a wonderful thing. And I think I read, I don't know if that's the one I read or it's the next one, but there's a cost that the city would have to incur but do we have any money? We got to focus on the water plant that we have to keep up and operating, and all these costs that I'm hearing about. Where's the money? This needs to happen because we have some lights that are stuck. And I'm glad that now I understand why, because there's a disconnect. It's like there is between people sometimes. Conversation.
Mr. Manager has been identified where the other funds will be coming from.
Do we have anything left from CARES or opera?
No, we haven't identified yet.
Is that something that could also come out of the local streets and major streets and stuff?
That's where I wouldn't think it will come from.
Okay.
Oh,
It was plugged into this year's budget, so.
Okay.
how much was it?
What was the difference again?
So the city share on the construction is $38,000.
38,000. Mhm.
So, one last question. Okay, so it's those boxes that sit in different places that's the brain of this whole thing.
Yep.
Okay, so what causes the light on? Okay, so this is Pipestone too, so that probably has something to do with that light being stuck so long. But how about this one up here on Main and Colfax?
That one
I
is.
mean, I'm like, who got time for this? I gotta turn right and go make a U-turn and go over in St. Joe?
That's
I
state,
feel the same way. That's an MDOT.
that's a state road, yeah.
State road.
Oh,
So
so,
you don't have any say in that one, and what they do in their roads is they prioritize Main Street, obviously, and then you sit there for 3 minutes and wait for the signal to turn.
longer than that sometimes,
I
all the
know.
time, it's ridiculous, so we need to do something about that. And we need to know exactly what that is.
Yeah.
Not now, thank you. Is,
Any other questions?
I'm gonna ask this question, and I'm probably a little off base. Is there any training in this project?
Training.
It's HUD money.
Oh,
Is there
no,
any
this is-
training in this project?
This is MDOT, this is federal money, this is,
I know
surface
federal.
transportation money, so.
Yeah, I know federal money,
Yes, it's
and I
not
know,
HUD.
and I know that social equity and social equality and social everything, and we should be requiring training or some kind of job out of this money. Yep. And I'm gonna ask it every time we give a project, and whatever the project is,
Federal funds.
it's federal funding. And I wanna make sure that we know our top priority is to get the traffic lights fixed so we can drive, but that's not our top priority. Our top priority is putting some of our people to work and to stop the gentrification.
I can stand and hold a slow sign.
So that's my question
Yeah.
to whoever
Yeah.
is in my hearing that know that that money is supposed to be.
So is that something that could be looked into with the contractor or something?
We can definitely talk to the contractor. It is a MDOT administered contract, so
Mhm.
there are rules and the city has a lot less say
Mhm.
of those type of things, but we can definitely bring that up to the at the pre-construction meeting.
They need
Okay.
to be hiring a couple of Ben Harbor residents to hold some signs to slow traffic down and stuff.
Oh, Mr. Duncan.
Their way, I mean, you have these lights and they're gonna last longer, is it? That's just something else somebody could just fly through. Is it might be asking a little much, but before this, is it a rule where you couldn't have some bumps before you get to the actual intersection to go along with those lights to give somebody a real reason to slow down? Because all through the city right now, a stop sign is just a stop sign. And I see it all the time, so those lights they're gonna work, but it's not gonna stop the one that's just gonna fly through there.
And cameras.
The cameras,
Mhm.
that's after something happens. And that's what you're trying to do, is try to keep something from happening. So you have to use everything to our benefit.
So it's the speed bumps, speed humps thing is a whole nother discussion. It's a public safety issue with fire trucks and ambulances and those type of things.
They can go
Response
over
times.
speed bumps.
Yeah, they're really,
Okay.
like I said, but
Thanks
here's
anyway.
here's the thing. The timing of these signals will be at the speed limit.
Mhm.
And they'll be coordinated that way, so at 25 miles per hour, if you drive 25 miles per hour, you'll hit the green lights. If you drive 45, you're gonna stop at every light. So we get the education part out there, I think that helps with that situation, so it's an enforcement thing, obviously, but that's I guess the positive that I would add.
So you go to running the lights, then it's supposed to be getting some tickets.
And then the cameras that are actually out there, I'll just tell you, are not for visibility, not for running red light tickets.
Yeah.
They're for vehicle detection. All they see is an image that tells them that somebody is at that intersection waiting before the green light. So they are not cameras that are recorded. They're not, we can't do that legally at an intersection in Michigan. Illinois they can, Michigan we can't.
Well, that would seem like it'd be more of a reason to have some speed bumps, but I'm not a rocket scientist.
Did I just hear right? Something about the cameras? Those not some of our cameras?
It's talking about,
What cameras you talking about?
I'm talking the ones that are at the traffic signals themselves, they're up on the mast arms pointing down. They're just detection cameras.
Okay, but those are, those are
Sensors for.
They're sensors basically to tell you if a car is there, right?
right,
are those the sensors that write you a ticket and send it in the mail?
no,
Oh, okay.
And those are what aren't legal in Michigan right now.
But don't we have some of our own in places?
but not,
Okay, all right.
yeah. All right, consensus.
Well,
No,
No.
we don't need to know, we
yeah,
just
Mr.
need to
Duncan just noticed
abide by
that
the law.
today,
All right,
I'll see you next week.
consensus, move this on, co-chair.
Yeah, move on.
Move
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
This one that's 5?
Oh, one question.
So
Hey, so you guys working on the lights had nothing to do with any power outages? Oh, okay.
We haven't had any that I know of. Yeah, we shouldn't have.
All right, item number 6. Black Lives Matter mural repainting and community
Good evening,
fund.
Chair, Singleton and Co-Chair Jerry, Commissioner Edwards, I was gonna call you cousin, son, and Chief and staff. I'm here because we are trying to repaint our Black Lives Matter mural and the dedication of the June Woods Park. We have partnered with local agencies and corporations and grassroots organizations. Last year, we did not repaint the mural because of the lead pipe situation, and it was a shortage on paint. We have secured that, and we want to do it before the kids go to school. The city commission previously approved this in 2020, so we're just asking for permission to go back and repaint it and make sure,
What dates?
August 19th.
August 19th.
What day is that?
That's a Saturday.
Saturday.
And
Okay,
then the Broadway Park dedication is August 20th.
that's Sunday.
That's a Sunday, yes.
We'll talk about that then.
As you are aware, they're still doing it, construction on Broadway Park. And we are wanting it should be done by that time. And we're wanting to rededicate it, the ribbon cutting, and invite the children in the neighborhood and community to come out and enjoy it. We'll be giving out free food, and community outreach and engagement, but also educating the community on who June Woods was and why the park has been changed.
Okay.
Yes.
I know you're also part of the Riverfest. What is that?
And August 4th, 5th, and 6th, we'll have the Benton Harbor River Fest. We have the legendary Angela Winbush coming. She'll be here August 5th. We have local talent and local entrepreneurs that will be out there selling the items. Last year, we estimated we had over 800. We're expecting to at least cap it at least 2,000 or more people. Hopefully the weather works good. It is a partnership between nonprofits, community, business leaders, and everything of that nature.
One question I'm getting is the $40 price, is that for the whole weekend?
That is for the whole weekend.
Okay,
$40.
yeah, for the whole weekend.
Angela Winbush, where's that?
And the reason why it is $40, we do not have corporate sponsors or anyone to contribute that out of their pocket. So we have to raise money to pay the artists. So that's why it's $40.
I think it's a good price, whole weekend.
Yeah, it's like, how many days? What?
It's 3 days.
So about.
And Saturday will be Michael Brock. He sung with the Dramatics. He's in Detroit. We actually have people coming from, I got a call from Detroit. They're like, they want to see Angela, but this guy, they seen him Saturday. And it's like he was playing in Detroit. I'm like, oh, he's from Benton Harbor. He's Michael Brock. That's one of our Benton Harbor heroes. We have a band, and it's diverse. We have a blues band. We have our Hispanic community, we have a large population and they'll be performing. So we're engaging all community members to attend.
Come out about what, 12 hours and something
Yes.
day, yeah. Not bad. Yeah.
I have, on the, when you repaint the mirror, you guys usually block that for the whole day?
We blocked it last time, we repainted it just for the, once the paint dries quick. So just while we're repainting it, and I believe the city had it removed by 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.
The first day we did it, the first time we painted it, it was closed for 2 days, but it would not be necessary this
This
time.
is already trimmed.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes, that's-
I think Mr. Dunn had his up first.
Ladies first.
Okay, Chevrolet.
I would just like to say that, when, the mural first came up,
Mhm.
it was during a time where the whole country was in an uproar and they were going up. And it's just sad and very unfortunate that some people take it for granted, the moments, and not understanding that it was a movement, and it still is, and it continues. And I'm just, as I was then, with all the advertisement and being a Black Lives Matter leader in the community, it's an official chapter. It's an official 501c3. And it deserves some respect because we're the ones that are going to probably be up in Detroit peacefully in front of HUD office about that building right there. It ain't about the mural on the street, it's about respect and the right order of doing things. I can remember the first time this happened before the mural went down. And I never heard any mention about the Black Lives Matter thank you. Because we donated the sticks, a lot of sticks, purchased from Lowe's, a lot of gallons of paint, a lot of rollers, let use our tents and everything else. Now they thank you, now they mention. But it's okay. Because it was for the community and it was about coming together. But at some point, people have to demand their respect because you wouldn't want anybody doing it to you.
Is this a question or a statement to me?
It's basically a statement or a question, or both.
Chair, can I respond?
Yeah, go ahead.
We are not associated with Black Lives Matter. It is Neighbors Organizing Against Racism. And if I recall back in 2020, when Commissioner Adams did bring and donate, we did say thank you, and I have pictures to prove that she was out there painting with us, and we did do our appreciation. This is not a time to go back and forth about respect or anything of that nature. It's about showing that Black people matter. When you look at the students, when you look at the kid that just overdosed, or the kid that got shot and buried in homes, our lives do matter. When you look at the lead situation, it's enough with the egos and innuendos and demanding respect. In order to demand respect, you have to give respect. And that's my statement to that. Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Duncan.
Yes.
I'm gonna demand some respect too. I'm asking a question. We have a couple of porta potties down on the river now, and this event is gonna be hosted down on the river, Mickey Yarbrough's Park, or?
Too much
It is going to be hosted at Mickey Yarbrough's Park, and we bring our own portables, our own sanitary water, and everything. We use a Benton Harbor company that supplies that for us.
Ask your question, sir.
Not quite, because it's a park, it should have some running water. And it's been asked about for years now. And I haven't seen, it was hard enough getting a couple of porta potties down there. I'm glad you guys are bringing your own. But actually, we shouldn't have to have that problem. It should be we got too many friends, or who you guys call friends, to have to not have what we need on the river. That's our that is is our only spot where we can enjoy ourselves on the river. I'm talking about neighborhood people, neighborhood fishing. Couldn't get the buoys up, all of that kind of stuff can be reminded, I can remind you of when we're talking about how things are going. Things are not going well. We party all the time. We got one party after another. But who wants to go in a park and can't wash their hands? Who wants to go to a park where there's only 2 porta potties in there and the rest of the business is on the side of the river, on the bank? And I've been saying that for a long time, and I'll just come back next week and keep on saying it until something is done. That has nothing to do with you, Mr.
Consensus to move,
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. If we had already approved this, is this more of an announcement or we gotta vote on it again?
You guys already approved it, I guess we just wanted to be,
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Is this a more of an announcement or just to move it forward?
so staff be advised and
yes, we don't want
coordinated with,
anyone to say
okay.
they were.
So this don't need to be a resolution, no. So, all right. Thank you for
so
your,
much.
Thank you.
I would just like the record to show that this marks the 10th year
Hmm.
of Trayvon Martin's death
Mhm.
and the birth of Black Lives Matter.
Mhm.
And there's a big, actually people coming from all over the country and some outside the country in LA on the 15th for a big festival.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, just another item I want to add to the agenda real quick. It's for the Benton Harbor Athletic Sports Club event that we wanted to bring to the commission. Mr. Jackson, you want to come up?
Talk loud enough. Good evening, everybody. I'm trying to bring back an old school historical event. I'm chairman of the Athletic Sports Club. My co-chairman is Commissioner Ron Singleton. What we're trying to do and hope to be approved, the old school historic event is called the fastest male and the fastest female on the streets of Benton, of Barron County. It used to be the streets of Benton Harbor. An event that I myself in the 60s and the 70s, Ron Singleton ran in this event. Old Bar School, Highland Project, the whole 9 yards. That's when everything was beautiful, 500,000 kids. This event would take place with the ages of 5 to 18 years of age, boys and girls. Medals, first place, silver, second place, bronze, third place, and we'll have 4th through 8th place for ribbons. This event, we would like to take place August the 12th, 2023, downtown Benton Harbor on 6th Street. 6th Street runs City Hall to Main Street. Between 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Registration will start at 9 to 11. I will be down there between 9 to 4 p.m. Monday through Sunday. The reason why we wanted to run this event at the City Center Park at the Pavilion on 6th Street because it's perfect. I marked off 100 meters. We wanted to do 200 meters, but it would have took up more space on Main Street. Commissioner Singleton and I, we several times couldn't saw what the best place to do it. But on this 6th Street, it has some spots that need to be filled in with some asphalt. And also, we're gonna try to put our own lines, track lines, Instead of it being 40 inches wide, it'd be 30 inches wide because of the street. However, this special event, all you need is running shoes. The thing about it is that we're trying to enhance the kids. You see what's going on. This special event can make a difference. And we will run it annually. But this is only one event that we have in our program. We got basketball, flag football for the adults and the youngsters. Volleyball for the girls and boys. This type of event could run through this whole entire county, this flood county. I'm not just saying Benton Harbor, because back in the day it was the Barron County Olympian game. The Barron County Canterbury games. Commissioner Single, yourself know about that. Me, myself, 5-time junior Olympic champion. And I think that Director McGinnis, I'm hoping that he will join with us because he's a former champion in Grand Rapids, 100, 200. It's something that me and Commissioner Singleton thought of, you know, and it's a great thing. It's free, and I'm hoping that everybody will bring their children, grandchildren, that, like I said, ages 5 to 18. I will be down there registering these kids down there at the pavilion every day, all the way up to the event. We're gonna need volunteers, spotters, guys shoot the gun, run the timer, put them in their lane. We're gonna need all that. I'm thrilled, I'm happy that this can take place. I've done it once before. It ain't an eye thing, it's a we thing. One of my mentors was, still is, Commissioner Ron Singleton. There's a lot of good things that can happen for Benton Harbor. And we ask them, that street clean. It needs to be manicured. I myself will volunteer and start cleaning it up, but they do have a lot of growth on it. I identified the spots that need to be put asphalt in. The only thing that can happen to one of these kids is to fall and scrape their little knees. The reason why I need a hose fit so they can twist an ankle. And the reason why it's called the Benton Harbor for the fastest kids on the street of Benton Harbor and the Barron County, because it is on the street, it's not a track. We would love to run it on Benton Harbor track, but it's been deemed unsafe. But since I've been out talking about this program, I got people from all the communities saying you can use our track next year. But see, that will happen because it would be the Benton Harbor / or the Barron County Olympic game, which it will be Barron County. I already went to Boys and Girls Club and let them know. I don't went to the YMCA of Buchanan and Niles. Commissioner Seaman, we went there. They was happy to hear about this. It wasn't long ago when we had the Hershey, one of the largest track meets in the United States of America. I brought that here for it all. Along with Andrew Hershey and Maurice Burton. We had a girl win the Nationals. We've been everywhere, out of our own pocket. It is needed, especially at this time. It is very badly needed. So I'm hoping in action, this committee, if we can push it forward and get this approved. We don't have it 30 days, but we worked on it a year ago. That's how you get things going. We're almost at the end. So I'm asking everybody, I think it's a great idea. See if you can get your great grandkids and grandkids and kids in it. It's gonna be a fun event. And I do believe that when this event kick off, everything else gonna follow. Because we're gonna do it every year. And that is the perfect place to run. It's right downtown, in front of everybody. So by that being said, I'm hoping that it be approved. At this time, got any questions, feel free.
Well, let me just speak on it since I am the co-chair. And we were talking about this some time ago. As a matter of fact, talked about it, co-chair of this committee too. There is, all the kids don't play basketball, all don't play football, all don't, do the team sports, but we thought about what can they do, as individuals, and track and field is a opportunity for kids to show some of their individual skills, and at some point, they win as a team when you collecting the points and stuff, there's a lot of kids here fast too. It's especially in my days of police work, chasing some kids can run. Matter of fact, my grandkids can go pretty good. Some of them, I think, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, and it's also something to help with their self-esteem, a feeling of accomplishment, winning a medal or even just participating, it is something that don't cost a whole lot of money, but we're able to fund a lot of this stuff out of our pockets, and hoping it catch on. We do have, other activities that we want to eventually bring in, but you got to start somewhere. The track idea came up because we thought about when we was kids. We didn't know it was track, but we challenged each other. Hey, I bet you I can beat you, and that's how we amused ourselves. We didn't have the video games and all the other little stuff back then, so we did other things. And it's also something to deal with their health. If they get interested in track, running and stuff like that, they start thinking about their conditioning and things too. It's especially with the ladies, it's being they're getting a lot of publicity now with the Sha'Carri Richardsons, and so I was watching my grandkids, 2 girls, watching TV, and I was looking at the track meet, and I looked back at them, and they were glued to it like they were watching one of their favorite cartoons. So they let me know that it was something that caught their interest, and they got a little program out there, Berry Springs, that they run. They call it Run for Donuts or something, and and that's something to get a little energy out of them before they get in the classrooms, and now they can sit down and pay attention because they don't have all that extra energy. So we just thought about bringing that type of stuff back, and looking forward to pulling it off. We had it on a bigger scale at first, but that would have caused for trying to block off Main Street, and we knew that a whole lot of other things go with that, getting state permission and all that. So we scaled it back down because we was going to do the 200-yard run, the 400 relay, and all that stuff, but it was just a little too big for this time around. So we scaled it back to just 100 meters. The smaller kids would be running,
5 or 6,
50 yards, 60 yards, and then 100.
60 and 100.
Yeah.
And they would be put in categories.
Yeah.
5 and 6 year olds would run each other, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17 and 18. Just so you know, we have one person that's still alive here, Glenn Yarborough. That's now 8 years old when all that began. One of the legend, great Charles Gray. He's the grandfather of all that. One of your former city worker, Danny Boyd Jackson, Robert Jackson, who's my coach. Thing about it is, a lot of people did not know about it. We went to Canada, and you had to act accordingly. When they come here, you stay with each other. That probably won't happen to you because of what's happening. But we're trying to get back to that, and that's gonna be required. Thing is about being taught respect. We got off that bus, it was attention. We didn't know no better. All we knew was the Mayan IOs. But let me tell you this here. When we took our kids to Howard, Michigan, during that time, Marcus Watson was deputy chief over some kind of recreation. We took those kids to Howard, Michigan, and did nobody think that we would act accordingly? Troop Burton, Self, Andrew Hirsch. We get off that bus, I'm gonna tell you something. That was a whole entire white city. We was all black. When we got off that bus, they were looking at us crazy, like it was gonna be a problem. It's 1995. They got off single-handed, no problem, no nothing. We left Howard, Michigan, our highest ribbon was second place. This mayor was shocked. We came back in '96 and won 13 state championships in Howard, Michigan. They asked Maurice Burton what was in the water. From that day on, they said, "You welcome anytime you come back." So what I'm saying is, this can happen. And the thing is about the 200. I really wanted that 200 because me and Dan, deputy director, he's a champion. He did his thing, Grand Rapids. He loved it. I just wanted him to see some kids that could run just as fast as he, if they could. In our program, we produce champions. My son's state champion, I never got that, but I got junior. And not only him, it was other kids. We had over 120-something girls. Girls at 11 and 12 and outrun the boys. Yes, they did.
Are there flyers?
It's gonna be, they coming out there. I'm gonna say something for the radio station, man. You thank you. Anybody, you guys questions or Coach here? You, Coach here.
No, I just applaud that because we had, like you said, we have been talking about trying to get stuff going in Park, even before commissioner, but yeah, I applaud it, moving forward.
I would like to ask a question, other than are there any flyers? I like the fact that there's some educational components to come with this, with hopes that you get an opportunity to exactly tell the children why and the benefits of all this, not just healthy living, but the history of it. I can remember when we used to play kickball with different, communities in the community coming up as children. What happened to it? It was something that we used to really look forward to.
Video games.
Okay, no, they came along way after that.
Yeah.
But the educational component is just like the thing with Black Lives Matter. Don't just it's good to see the kids get together and paint and everything, but there's a history that needs to be taught about things as well. So I'm looking forward to this coming.
Okay. Commissioner Andy, I thought I seen your hand go up.
Yeah. I don't know if this makes any difference or not, but I think it's a good program. Anything that we get to enhance empower our children in any kind of way, to give them out, because we all know, we heard what everyone brought a report in and talked about from 0 to 18 years old and how big of a population we have. So, yeah, it's a good thing. I think it's a great thing, and especially if we can collaborate with the school system but my question is, why do we have to be Berrien County? Why can't we still be Benton Harbor and Benton Harbor by itself? Ownership is so important to a community that are lacking. We wanna be like, so any time we can get ownership, and over the years, when Jeff Knowles said, I am going to go regional, I'm not gonna concentrate on Benton Harbor anymore, it's been a cycle. So my question is, why do we have to give it away to a county when we already know that our kids are gonna be spectacular in whatever it is they do? And we need to compete.
Let me explain to you
We
why.
need to learn how to get along.
Let me explain to you why. It's Benton Harbor Sports Club. And the Barron County Canterbury Games it came up through when I owned Benton Harbor.
I got you.
He did, he done that. And the reason why you say Barron County, Benton Harbor's in Barron County, and you see, we drew out all the best in the county to go to Canada. You just couldn't say Benton Harbor only. When we went to Canada, we had people all over the county representing us in Canada.
Well,
That's why.
let me, it's
No, that
a,
ain't making sense.
but it's a Benton Harbor, it's the Benton Harbor Athletic Sports Club, but you're inviting, kids,
Senators.
you're inviting kids from Barron County you don't want to eliminate them. It makes good for competition, makes good for, meeting with folks from other communities. And this day and age, which didn't happen back then, right now, a lot of our kids are going to other schools in the county. So we don't want to eliminate them. Because they live in Benton Harbor, but they go to school in other cities in the county. So competition-wise, it's a county thing, but it's the Benton Harbor Sports Athletic Club.
So it will stay Benton Harbor Sports Athletic,
Yes.
although we're gonna blend and with other.
Yes.
Right, for
But
competition.
it will stay Benton Harbor.
Yeah.
So when they look at Benton Harbor's success rate, and you go to Canada and you
That's it.
okay, that's all I
That would be a successful, another successful Benton Harbor program.
I have one more thing. The reason why I be talking about that guy right there, that guy there lit up some folks in Grand Rapids. And when we run our state and regionals, they got to go see him. He was top notch.
Beat anybody from Benton Harbor?
Yeah, come on. I did a background on him, and True Burton, all of us. He did his thing. That competition where he was at, I think he went Olive Hill or Central. I'm telling you, we had people from Benton Harbor was trying to get him. And then after he did his thing, we had a guy trained extra harder to do what he did.
Plus, make our kids run better. We got to run to get some competition.
So
Let's get the chief in right quick.
This is kind of like nostalgia. If I can, I'd love to help in any way I can.
Appreciate it.
Remember coming down here from Rapids every summer, Tony McGee, Niner Bucklow, Bishop we raced. That was like, we look forward to every year. We come down here and we race. Of course, he was the bees knees down here. I was up there. I'm gonna tell you, just this past Monday, we did our outreach in Thurgood. I had about 12 kids come up to me asking me about running track.
Wow.
I think, and I actually make that and football. I called Bull, because I went in with Benton Harbor Rock football. We talked about going to the actual apartment complex to register. I guarantee we can get at least 8 to 10 kids from Thurgood, like right now.
Let's get them, man.
So I would love to help any way I can. I think there's some ways to help recruit some kids, kind of help oversee. And also don't forget, my son did a pretty good job in state championship with the coach. So don't forget about that. So, let's connect.
Yeah, let's do it.
And let's hit Vineyard, Bus, River Terrace. I guarantee we can probably get 100 kids.
Okay.
I wish more than anything that, I just heard that something was wrong with our track at the school. But we got all these events. We wanna paint Black Lives Matter in
Well, we
in
not-
front of the school.
Yeah, we ain't gonna
But
worry
what's
about,
wrong, what's wrong with raising some funds to fix our track?
well, we're gonna work on that, but right now, we're gonna do this, and maybe
Oh,
they'll,
yeah.
maybe that'll inspire getting something done for that too. Sir,
The concern for safety and potholes or whatever needs to be fixed on Sixth.
Yeah.
I know I was picking up litter today before the meeting,
Mhm.
and there's been asphalt work done both sides of that street.
Mhm.
There's a lot of little droppings that must have come from the equipment.
Mhm.
That's gonna take some work. Maybe it's part of the
Mhm.
the construction companies that made material to clean up after themselves.
Mhm.
Something to look into on that.
In a workman-like manner.
Yeah.
Right.
It's supposed to be in the contract.
Yeah, we also got some volunteers who wants to, go down and help clean up too, so we're not trying to put any financial burden on the city too, so,
They didn't pay is
So,
what he's saying.
yeah, but, yeah, with contractors, if they, they need to clean up after themselves, I do definitely agree with that, so. So, Mr. Manager, is it, whatever you can help us out with, if the patch machine can come out, or if they still doing that over there at that parking lot, if they got a little extra asphalt left or something, can they help us out?
Yeah.
Mr. Little.
Are you done on that?
No,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot, Mr. Dunn got his hand up. Go ahead.
well, you got it pretty much covered, but when you talk about Mr. Gray and our YMCA out on Crystal, there's no more. We're now Benton Harbor, St. Joe, YMCA, which is a long ways from our neighborhood. I would love to see our Bobo Brazil Center open again.
Mm-hmm.
It's right by the park. Kids wouldn't have to run all over the world trying to get something done. And nobody talks about the Bobo Brazil Center. If they do, they call it something else. I forget what they even call it.
Armory.
The Armory. Growing up with Mr. Gray and the Y was the most exciting part of my life here in Benton Harbor. There was nothing to do then, and it sure as hell ain't nothing to do here much now. But it's good that you guys are stepping up to the plate. I just want you to hit a home run. I want you to get our armory back together. None of the passing the book or saying that it's something that we can't do for one reason or another. There's no reason for that building to just sit there like that. And while we're talking, 2,000 Paw 2. 2,000 Paw. Yeah. You guys, y'all are help meets supposedly. Why you can't help us get what we're supposed to have in the first place? I mean, we can create all kind of events, and I'm glad you guys doing it because that's exactly some of the things that I've always wanted to be happening in Benton Harbor. But if we don't have what we're supposed to have, the rest is just kibbles and bits. And I don't live good off of kibbles and bits. We got all of this infrastructure money, and we hardly even discuss that. But that's money that could take care of our buildings and our kids and senior citizens. I like to see some senior citizen races and all that too. I like to see senior citizens on the map like run around there talking about the kids all the time. I was telling you that their mothers and fathers, uncles and aunties, yeah. We need some love too.
Wheelchair race.
Your wheelchair, I wouldn't care if it was a one-legged race. Long as you concern yourself with everybody. That's all I had to say. And thanks for the time to say it too.
Thank you. Mr. Little.
Yes, sir, I have an item that I wanted to bring forward that wasn't here. Because, well, I'll start this way. Last week, I was working on the conversion matter that I think you've heard me talk about before, where we've got to resolve a problem with the National Park Service for the land that the dialysis center was put on. And as I was working on those, I thought about all these little yellow signs I saw going up, and it dawned on me that I had not seen a listing of the properties that were going to start to come up for the tax sale. So I got on the phone and I called, and I guess Shelley had forgotten too. They sent that list to me. I believe I got it either Wednesday or Thursday. Friday, I sent a note asking how long do I have to look at it, because there's about 50 properties on it. In order to get it pulled off before it goes to the next step, she said the 14th. Well, that's this Friday. So I've got to move rather rapidly on this, but having looked through it, there are some significant properties on there that we need to be sure and pull.
I think I seen some over there by the armory there. Got the.
I thought we owned those already.
Most, but there's still some that are out. And there is one there. There are also those properties all around Modern Plastics here on there. We don't want to let those get away from us. And there are quite a few. So the commission approved a resolution quite some time ago for us to go forward with this process. But I didn't want to come up and suddenly got a listing in a bill and nobody's heard anything about it.
How much?
And since Friday is 2 days away, I thought I'd better take this opportunity. Mr. Mitchell and I wanted to bring this up, take this opportunity to make you aware that we're working on this list. I'll be on tomorrow and Friday and getting the request into the county to pull a lot of these properties off.
How much?
I won't know.
We don't know.
I won't know yet.
Wow.
Till you get the list, tell you.
Okay. My question becomes, because when I ride by there, I've been riding by there all the time. Because my eyes are on the roof and in the windows and everything. And the roof, it was just a little bit that had peeled back when I first brought it up, and this was what, last year? Now it's further back, and I've been asking for years, can we put a camera on our armory to watch the vandalism that's going on? Anyway, it's getting worse, and it's something needs to happen. Something needs to stop. We need to get our armory, whatever funds we have available, to fix that building for our babies, for the community, period. But I remember you saying, Mr. Little, that you had purchased that property along the side of the armory. And I was shocked to see those two auction, because I thought that you had purchased all of that up to that one house that needs to.
No, unfortunately, no. There's about somewhere between 8 and 10 parcels around there.
We need to find out what they all are, because we are the ones that have been mowing it.
Yeah.
And if it belongs to the county, then they owe us. They need to reimburse us for the mowing.
Actually, they don't belong to the county. They've been
This is
purchased
private.
by people
Speculate.
in prior tax seasons
Really?
before we started doing this. And one point you're making, though, that I agree on, and that is we need to bill the people where we're cutting.
The days of whoever.
Yeah, but we're trying to get all of them.
Okay.
You need to make sure it's cut
Okay, so you'll get that, you'll go through that list and.
When will we
And I
know
remember-
when will we know the amount?
Modern Plastics itself. I understand.
Mr. Mitchell and I met with,
Michelle.
the county about that.
Okay,
And what they're saying is that whoever purchases that building
I'm
itself
aware, yeah,
incurs all of the
yeah.
liability.
And I
We'll have
remember
to
talking
sign
to you
something.
and Michelle about it.
Right.
Why can't we get together and talk to those, new private family members and see, can't we come to some type of agreement, a partnership to do something for this community? And that may be the way out, and if we don't have a conversation or a discussion, then we won't know.
I don't think it'll apply to the building, but I think it's a great idea and we'll follow it.
Thank you.
And we won't know for some time yet what the total amount's going to
Okay.
be, but I do need to go ahead and move on.
All right.
Will we be able to purchase it with ARPA funds?
There's no reason you couldn't.
Okay, good.
Commissioner Henry.
Thank you, Chair. So a year ago, or a little more, we put a moratorium on. And we weren't gonna sell any land.
Yeah.
I understand. We're looking to develop big lots, big areas. We went back and approved another year of and I've been asking for the last 8 months. I wanna see the property that the city owns. Just last month, we bought property. It was last month, a month before last, we bought property from the land bank. By me watching the money, it said that we had bought some property. I asked the finance and city manager, what lots, what property did we buy? I have not gotten the answer yet. That is public information as to what we own as a city. And I understand the developers. And I'm looking at the master plan and I'm looking at the zonings and the things that they want to do.
Zone for them.
And I'm saying that we as elected officials need to get involved in this, know what we have, and if we decide, or if we know some developers, if we have connection, my thought is that we all work as a team and make this work. But if we're not being transparent as to how much property the city really owns, I asked the assessor and they sent me back to the city manager. And the assessor belongs to me as a commissioner. So I'm having a big problem with this. I do have some developers from Detroit and New York that want to come in.
I got some from Atlanta.
When I talked to them about my property, they were all excited. So I'm gonna, through the chair, ask the staff to supply us all with how much property we have that we purchased. Back in the day, we had 800 properties that belonged to the city. And we decided that it was too much. We started selling them. $1, $25, $250, whatever you can do. Now, some of them properties has reverted back 3-4 times. Some of those properties that were paid $1 for, they sold that property 3 or 4 times too. So, to be a team in this, a team effort, I would like for them to supply us with every property that we own.
We should be able to get that pull up that on the.
Our problem isn't supplying the information. Our problem is having time to put it together in the midst of all the other stuff that we have going on. And as you say, if we're working as a team, all you need to do is have those developers get in touch with me. And we will work with them on whatever it is that they want to do.
That's not what I'm talking about, Mr. Little. I said, you supply, ask him through the chair, to ask the assessor, who the charter says that belongs to us as an elected officials, to give us the information as to what we own.
I asked that myself before and I got a list, and what it produces, I don't think you would want. It has all the streets, parks,
It has numbers.
the alleys, because it's.
It's better than nothing, Mr. Little.
All right, we'll get.
I'll take a document and take out what I don't want. I'll make it important to me.
I'll get with the manager and the assessor and see what they can do.
So please, that's all I need.
I'd like to come back though and say again, in terms of working as a team, if you've got developers that are interested in doing something, all they need to do is get in touch. We want developers. And we
Give me
will work with
give me
them.
some information, give me some ammunition to give them to say, here's what we have. Do you see anything that I already talked to them about my 3 lots. They said, oh, that's a perfect place to do that. I'm gonna bring it to you. But that's all I know.
Understand.
No, we're gonna sit down and have a conversation together.
Let me mention another
As a
part of
team.
this process that you need to be aware of. And that is that we're not just looking at these properties for developers. We're also looking at these properties for, in essence, the program you were seeing in the master plan. Basically, we've got University of Michigan working with us and a couple of their professors who specialize in housing. We're putting together materials where the incentives that the state offers, any federal incentives that could be made available, the pattern homes, you saw different ones, duplexes, singles, quads, and so forth, that were incorporated in the master plan, that people who are interested and can put together the financing to do it. We can couple that with the land and lots that we have available. My recommendation is going to be that we stop selling lots, period.
Yeah.
That we take and lease them, give 99-year leases, and which net leases where the person that builds a homeowner will pay the taxes, but leave the ownership in the name of the city.
Chairman, through the chair, may I ask him, Mr. Little, a question? Have you spoken with Superintendent, Dr. Butts?
Yes, I have.
Okay, because see,
Day
Dr.
before
Butts,
yesterday.
this is what, did you talk to him about development and stuff?
Yes.
Okay,
Sure
because
did.
this man, when I first met him, that was our conversation. I was trying to get a feel of who I'm electing to oversee our school.
Mhm.
But the conversation got so deep, come to find out, this man got folks enjoy, he know developers. We
All right.
need, and that's one of the reasons I've been trying to stress for years, that we need to be together on one accord, talking with one another, trying to partnership and work some things out together
All right, we gotta get to
as
the,
boards.
you get that information to us then, okay?
Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Co-Chair, you got the Parks and Recreation update?
Yeah, I got 2 questions, but before I forget, I'm gonna ask the city clerk, can she put me down for the next meeting presentation for programs and activities in the park?
Okay.
I'm not gonna do it now,
All right.
it's almost 8.
Yep, sound good.
2 questions. The boulders at City Center Park, those boulders, what are they actually there for? They've been there, I noticed when they first put them down,
We told them to
shoot, I think it was maybe before they started the little pavilion. And I thought it was for that, but it's not, and I thought it was for the pavement, and it's not, so I don't even know what they there for. Kinda like an ugly sort of.
Exercise on.
No, I hope not. You know what I'm talking about, the blockers in City Center Park?
We asked them to take that out and they were gonna take it out, but they didn't.
I don't even know what they're there for.
I don't know what you're talking, yeah,
Stop the
sure.
people from parking.
That's what it was for?
That's what they said, and we asked them to take it out.
Oh, they still there.
Oh,
So can we color them? Paint them?
no,
Can you
take
the
them
line
out.
So they there, let me get this straight. So they was put there so we don't park on the grass? Yes or no?
That's what they said in the meeting.
Who they?
Staff and Abermarch.
Okay, so if they there to keep people from parking on the grass, why are we moving them?
Cause they're not, nobody's parking on the grass.
No one.
Don't make sense, but okay.
If they ain't
Move
needed,
them, they're gonna go back to park on the grass?
No one's parking on the grass.
I saw a truck parked on the grass today.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if they,
in City Center Park.
yeah,
It's
so,
always
Where?
somebody somewhere.
The farmer's market?
wait, hold on.
During the market.
So, from my understanding, it was put there so they don't park on the grass.
That's what they said.
So if I put something there, they don't park on the grass, I move it, they go park on the grass.
Nobody parked on the grass in the first place. I ain't gonna win over that one.
I just seen 3 people park on the grass.
Where?
In City Center Park, right? Where's the city?
I was down there all day, and half of the day you was
You
there.
seen the same black truck? The same black truck?
Where?
In City Center Park, I was there all day too.
You was there half a day, I was there all day. Now
Okay.
where?
Here's my thing, so are we getting those bricks moved, or are they staying there for future, construction? That's all I want.
I can get with some staff on that and work that out.
Close the meeting down now.
Now, did you have,
I always
Mr.
go
Rabbit,
down
you,
to get the park,
No.
at least thing to talk about.
I know.
Now, you
That's
say-
what I'm saying. We walk out, we just so rude. man.
no, we ain't closed nothing down yet.
We
Uh,
don't get nothing done.
Update on the exercise thing?
yeah, we ain't closed nothing down yet. He's still talking.
I'm waiting for them to, get over there talking.
Don't wait, just go on and do your thing.
They ain't listening.
Because I wouldn't want nobody talking when I'm talking.
Well, they rude, man. They rude.
We all rude.
Yeah, all
Yeah, he talking to you.
Oh, I thought the meeting was over.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
So I'll find out from the staff.
Mhm.
Okay. So second one is, no, we took care of that, the running thing, the pavement cracks and all that. That's it for me.
No update on the exercise thing?
so you gonna bring that next time?
I mean, Commissioner Juanita?
She asked the question and I respond.
I wanna know why, what, last month before, it was another corner was chosen for the exercise and thing.
The
What's going
Priority
on?
Health Center?
Yeah, that.
If I'm not mistaken, the first review we got of it was over here by the bench, right? By, what is that, 100 women?
Yeah,
By that bench, and now it's being moved down, is that correct?
It need not to be.
To the
going
main
up
and
here.
Pipestone corner?
we don't know.
It shouldn't be at all,
Why should it not be?
because there's not room for it. And I think that it would take away from what little beauty there is. And there's an apartment that just went up that has the exercising equipment inside. There's another one about to go up on the corner of Colfax and Main, and they have one right here in this apartment building. I mean, people can bring their mats and get together and do what they do in a park. It don't need to be a big, something that's blocking the view.
Can we put that on there? I ain't trying to be here.
I agree to you.
That'll be on next agenda.
Can we have it in our meeting, or I'm gonna bring it to the floor, from the floor?
Commissioner,
You know.
We waiting on comments from staff. But
oh,
I've been asking through the chair and the co-chair for an update on Parks and Rec. We're already in the middle of summer, almost the end of summer, and I still haven't gotten an update from 2002
And these updates,
concerning the parks. Do we have contracts with people? How much were they paid? How much did they pay? What is going on in the parks? Why there's such a discrepancy in money? If I don't get an answer, and I've been asking now for 2 years, there is some answers of what is going on in our park. As you know, our lilacs come up missing. Every time I think about that, I get mad.
like the purple thing?
Yeah, every time I think about it, and these people come every year and they do not pay us a dime.
With all
Well,
in
they
white
haven't been-
tents, with all in white tents, they be parked on the.
They do not pay us a dime and nobody tells us about it.
Okay,
I've been asking about it for 2 years. Please, will you, through the chair and the co-chair, ask staff to provide us a comprehensive report on the parks and recs? Thank you.
Okay,
Can we start getting a month, quarterly, listing of the commissioners? Can we get a quarterly, listing of the preserve? Who has the park preserve? Reserve? Reserve, yeah.
Preserve. Got food on your mind. You
Did
just
I
want to
hear
say a little bit.
Did I hear an answer to that?
no, because every time I get ready to answer, somebody starts talking. So I'm waiting for everybody to answer, then I can write down my answers and then I can get through.
Mr. Richmond.
So this is the way. I'm trying to get an answer.
Mr. Rabbit.
I just got a question. The scoreboard at Union Park has been flashing, I don't know, 3 weeks now, maybe?
Longer than that.
Is that zone?
No.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Is there a contact
Any more? Oh, contact.
to speak about parks? Like, I don't know, somebody
You in the meeting?
right at that. Okay. No, there's a whole one. Give them up, whatever.
Go through?
What else? I don't want to extend the meeting. I think making a list, maybe going through it efficiently, probably. I'll
Yeah.
try to do that to be prepared for next meeting.
That sounds good.
You do not have to wait for a
That's
meeting.
right.
Call my office and report whatever you find.
All right.
Right.
Then come back and tell us when you
Can I say
get an
something?
answer.
Madam Clerk, say something.
So there's actually a calendar of the park reservations on the website. If you go to Parks and Rec, and it'll tell you every day what's been reserved in every park.
Thank you.
I want to send to
So our
me.
site is working.
I don't wanna have to
Tested it
go.
in a minute.
To a computer, and I don't want to have to ask for the key to the bathroom. I want it given to me. That's my right as an elected official.
A key to the bathroom, girl, we all should have one,
Please don't start.
You-
Don't start.
especially some folks with medical conditions. Did anybody think about that?
You gonna answer that question?
That's a
Y'all
public
asking me
safety.
50 questions before I can even answer
The
one.
bathrooms, that's important.
See, we don't went from
Wait. Chair, I'm gonna say, can
a
it just say one more
comprehensive
thing?
report to a key to the bathroom.
Can I get those reports?
We need a
Between you and you, can I get that?
If I can.
Can we get a comprehensive report? for
Yes,
Parks and Rec?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
When?
That's all I want.
What they have to do with the key to the bathroom?
Well, I'm just saying, if you gotta talk about disrespect.
Thank everybody for coming
you can't
out.
even get a key to the bathroom.
Meeting closed.
How disrespectful is that?